Feels like you're running through the fire, so high and dry, burnt out, 300 miles behind you, racing the sands of time. Baby, I can heal you, make it right, yeah. Come on, let me bring you back to life, revive. I got the sugar, I'll take you to paradise. Bring you to life, let me revive you. Unfold, we're flowers in the desert. Come bloom with me. Let go, we run from any tension. I'll set you free. Baby, I can heal you, make it right, yeah. Come on, let me bring you back to life, revive. I got the sugar, I'll take you to paradise. Bring you to life, let me revive you. Let me revive you. Let me revive you. I can heal you and feel you, yeah. I'll revive you. I can heal you and feel you, yeah. I'll revive Bring you to life, let me revive you.
What's up, gamers? Hi, Harley. I know the fucking thing's gonna be fucked up here, so we're gonna fix it. Where's my capture? There it is. Hey, it's not fucked up for once. That is so incredibly surprising. Alright. Jesus, rank 14. My fucking god. Hi, Harley. Alright. Anyways, playing more of this. Like I said, either tomorrow or the day after, I'm planning on doing like modded Skyrim or something. So, but we'll figure it out. What? Alright, we're still on Portellini Feast. Yeah, I sent it to that one. Yep. We'll see how many of them show up. If they don't, not the end of the world. Alright. Just saving money right now. Fernanda. Let's get it, gamers. We got large, warm blend, marshmallow, vanilla, chocolate, This actually sounds good as hell. Large. Marshmallow. Vanilla. And then 4 people are already here. True. Well, Remy's not here. He's pretty important. Yeah, you are. Stop saying the word gay. You keep getting flagged. Okay. Whatever this one is. Boop, 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 boop. Okay. Gotta get back in the rhythm of everything. Okay. White chocolate drizzle. And then 1, 2. Wait a damn second. Remy's busy being. Yeah, I figured as much. Hey. Well, hopefully he wakes up in enough time to at least catch a little bit of it. I know he'd be sad if he couldn't make at least some of it. But obviously I do want him to sleep. Yeah, that would definitely would get you in some trouble there. Alright, we want this. We're looking. Let's get this. Okay. Both I think it's actually like on my like blacklisted words. So yeah, you would definitely get in trouble. You definitely get in trouble for that. Auto mod probably wouldn't even give me a chance to appeal it at all. A good sleepy old Rim. Indeed. You could say he's in his Rim cycle. Ha! Medium, s'mores, vanilla. S'mores. Vanilla. Okay. Right, yep. It's kind of funny, not gonna lie. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Oh shit. Boop, boop, boop. Okay. Cannoli cream. Okay, you want white coconut shavings. That's not nearly spread out enough. Wifey added it. Don't. Yep. Yep, I did. That is subject to change. Oh. Wow, did I do that fucking bad? There's a too far? Okay, that's dumb. Dumb. Made a fucking Twizzler. God damn it. Okay. Drop a lit. White drizzle sauce, right? Yep. Then coconut shavings. Give me a second, please. What's up? You're different. No. That's also not how that works. Like, I can't, like, actually give that to you. Why is there already an egg brick? Did you blend in? Swap. And then a single hazelnut. Nice. I know you do. Not this bitch. Sup, Quinn? You fucking pussy. Oh right, we have espresso sauce now. Forgot about that. Right, large. Boop. Espresso. That going. Off. Medium. Up. Up. Chocolate. White drizzle sauce. Coconut. Then a single. We have to point this out. Agreed. She looks like a bitch. Nice. Hell of money there. Hell yeah, Hatsune Miku. Okay, she wants cannoli cream. These little fucking things. Peanuts. This genuinely does not sound appetizing. Oh, I placed that too far. That's alright. Never mind, it was pretty much perfect. Hell yeah, easy peasy. Why is a PC jet? It shouldn't be. Oh, but it is. Why? I didn't realize you could hear that. Yeah, I don't know. It's not jet engineering by any mean, but it also could be a mix of like my fan in the background and this thing. She's running a little louder. That's also because she's running OBS. Papa's my VTuber and a couple browsers. So, oh boy, my favorite. Fuck. Breaking this fucking rule because I want to try to get past this fucking level. I'm so tired of it. Yeah, I couldn't tell you. There we go. Let's go, finally. God. So she's flying on a private plane. You goddamn right. That's somehow the fucking best internet in the world to be able to do that all together. Okay, yep, no, we're still not gonna waste anything because I'm still trying to get that achievement. Only one more day of not spending money though, so that's not too bad. Dino. Raspberry crumble. Twizzler. Okay. Medium. Crumble. Strawberry. He wants it chunky. Oh shit, that's bypass what I wanted. Shit. Yeah, Fernando. Medium. S'mores. I lost time in the speed run. No, I'm doing great. Vanilla. Medium alarm. Cannoli. Got you. Got you. Stop it. Okay. Okay. You have got one more you can expend. Fuck you, Harley. I took one very, very long drink. Fucking bitch. And still managed to get a 99. Good. Maggie's got a special order. Okay, medium. Boom, banana. This also doesn't sound great. Just knowing. Okay, it's a medium swap. Drizzle chocolate. Chocolate! White drizzle on there. God damn it. You're ridiculous. Alright, he's crit. Just one. I am live, Harley. Alright. Okay, medium. Strawberry. Strawberry. White whipped topping. We want rainbow sprinkles. Whatever these seasonal ones are. Alright, 96 ain't too bad. Probably cookies too far. Sugar plum streusel. Okay, so it looks like that strawberry stuff is permanent. I think I can hear you smile when you say that. Shut up. Also, that should be the only ad for a little while. And a boop, and a boop. Yellow. Like you're sick of my shit, but you love me. Yeah. Yep. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Nope. Fuck that up. S'mores. It's a massive time waste, guys. We're basically gonna have to die now. Who's there? Not the Lexus ad. Medium. Birthday cake. That one. Okay. Medium. Let me readjust here. Birthday cake. Boop. And this one. Boop. Oh, oop, swap, oop. Oh, chocolate. Four-wheel drive. Oh, hell yeah. Just what I needed. God damn it, spilt some. God damn it, spilt more. Coconut. Okay. Let's go all the way. Ooh, fancy. Sounds pretty good. Okay. Chocolate chips. Cookie, cherry, and cookie. Nice. Once again, still doesn't translate, but whatever. Got an achievement. Hey, I got the one for not spending any money in the shop for 7 days. I didn't really have a reason though, to be fair. Hell yeah, I got a fuck ton of money. My god. Barista. Alright, what do we got? Ah, my favorite. Okay, so no, that'd kill me. So probably duh, slam. Down, slam, slam, slam. I can. What? Oh, okay. And there's your last drink, liquid. You chug the last of my Sprite for you. You keep getting flagged. By the way. Okay. God, it's only getting worse. That's just death. There's no reason for that. Oh. Ba. Or ba. No. How the fuck? I need to get here. How do I get there? Oh, I was thinking get over here too. But how do I get over there? I need to be... Well, I can't get lined up that way. Fuck. So, ba. No, that's not gonna do shit for me. What do you want from me here, game? There's not a way to get into the position to slide over there. So unless I need to get there, but I guess this which is possible, but that doesn't seem likely. It seems like I have to get right in there. How do I get over there? I'm losing my mind. Oh, I guess I can slide up into that, so Yeah. God, I'm so smart. Jesus, that took me a while. Okay. Fuck. Bruh. And that will lead me to certain doom. So, nope. So. That's death. No. I don't remember. I'm gonna be honest. Ooh. I need to get there. What do you want from a game? Oh, I to go up. I didn't think about this one. No. Okay, got it. Gaming. Straight gaming. How is it still this freaking Portellini feast? God damn. Okay. So something number 66. Do I got a hint on that? Nope. So I just need a certain thing, I guess. Speaking of which, also, let's get yeah, fuck it. Let's just build a little extra pointage. Might be so smart. I know. I'm just the smartest. Oh, he's a star customer, duh. Well, where it was served JoJo while wearing a turtleneck and a beret. Sure, do I have those? Nope, I'd have to buy them. Fuck it. Why not get an achievement while we're at it? So turtleneck, I would assume would be in here. Oh, good. There's only about 1 billion shirts. So glad. Oh, I guess I can sort by just probably basic. So they're just not non-holiday. Unless it's under this, which I guess could make a little bit more sense. And I bet you know basic math too, nerd. Yeah, I do. I'm so smart. Not that I'm seeing. I guess some stuff that gets kind of close, but costumes aren't really a thing. If not, BRB gonna make some mods. I don't think they have mods in this game. Oh, here's a turtleneck. Let's get a black turtleneck. And then I need a beret, because he shouldn't visit today anyways, so. A beret. Oh, it's me, Jojo. If you wanna make it really happen, then just send me one, Harley. Just saying. Just saying. Wow, this game allows you to be trans because you can just switch your gender at any point. Let's go. We love that. I don't even care if I lose holiday spirit, I'm gonna be honest. Apparently I don't, so just in case, we're gonna throw her in the same shit. Let's get it, gamer. Hey. Oh boy, Matt. Worst achievement just forces you to be French, indeed. A fate worse than death. Also bet, do it, bitch. You fucking won't. Peanut butter cups of vanilla. That sounds pretty good, actually. What's up, Rico? Another large. I will, slut. Yeah. Do it. Chocolate chips. Peanuts. Yeah, this actually seems pretty solid other than the cherry, just because I don't really like cherries that much. At least not my ice cream. 93, really? Only? Fuck you. I don't want to quit. Make one that's just milk. I don't think it'll allow me to. Evelyn. Granny over here. I would love... Oh, okay. The Harley special, huh? Then this. White. One. Go. Easy peasy. Sure. Tony, the bin was the banana bus butter. What even has this one? Peanut butter and banana. What size? Medium. Peanut butter, banana. Peanut butter. Medium blend. Okay. Granny. Granny likes it chunky. Chocolate drizzle. Up and pop and pop. You love banana. Stop. Hey! Okay, that one was poured beautifully. Okay. What do we need? White. Green like some thick motherfuckers. Agreed. I'm coming. Okay, medium. Peanut butter banana. Banana. Okay, so white topping, chocolate drizzle. Still a little bit, god damn it. Peanuts. And triple banana. Boop and a boop. Really, bananas plain. Pop this kill. You don't like bananas? Really? I love bananas. Oh, I thought it was a JoJo day. Damn it. It was like end of the week, so I just kind of assumed. Whatever. I'll wear it. I'll wear it until he comes. Said it's just fucking Xandra. Strawberry banana, as always. And then alright, white topping. Chocolate drizzle. What did you do, Natalie? Don't call me Natalie on stream, you hoe. Stop. Hey, let's go. Beautiful. Perv. Okay. Okay. Okay, little kitty meow meow. Femboy shake. Fuck off. Don't say the words fucking femboy shake to me. I'll kick your ass. How we doing? Sorry, I tapped out for a second here. Drink liquid, got you. Ah, fuck. I don't remember this shit. Fuck off. Okay, yeah. It's 2. You get 3 more. Fuck. I think I assumed this was her the last time and I got it wrong. I think that's his, and I think this is his. Damn it. Just start serving them estrogen. Agreed. Well, fuck. This is hers. His is basic. I don't remember you at all, so I'm gonna assume it's this one. Damn it! I only have 2, enough for 2, so you're lucky. Thank you. Stop trying to drown me, please. Fuck, I don't remember what Iggy's is. And I served him so many times, too. Papa's Trains healthcare area. That would be something else for sure. I just got nothing to spend money on because none of these bitches are here. Boom. Another just random piece of shit in there. Why not? Ah, fuck it. Not meaning to go all the way back. What'd I get new? Got a backpack. Oh boy. Can't wait. Are you seriously not starting a new holiday yet? This fucking holiday goes on for goddamn ages. Also saying is you wouldn't need so much water if you did a... Wait, you wouldn't need so much water if you did the hot tub. Papa's nut busteria. God damn it. Harley, I thought I gave you all of them. Bitch. What's up, Johnny? Large. Yeah, yeah. I already did. Okay, chocolate. Oh no, soft. He likes it chunky. Johnny likes it chunky. God damn it, I think my oh, I thought my model froze again. She did for a quick second there. Too busy, Harley. Sorry, I can't approve the message. That was not the right thing. Peanut butter banana. Okay, chocolate. Tony likes fucking a lot of chocolate. My god. Okay. Ah, so close. What's up, Olga? Olga looks like she'd fucking kill me like with like a single punch. Okay, medium. Vanilla. Rat. Hottest bitch for real. Okay, pop. Chocolate drizzle, yep. Chocolate drizzle, peanuts, 3 bananas. Sorry, smasher passing the customers, sure. Too far on the banana, but that's alright. Pass. Some of these hoes fuckable. Sure, I'll allow that one. Pass. I'd rather be friends with Kingsley. He just seems like a nice guy. Okay, large. Okay, cannoli. 3 bananas, my perfect weekend. Ridiculous, Harley, ridiculous. Boop, and a boop. Damn it, so close. Right. Alright, peanuts. The fuck is calling? Smash. Actually, I only heard the word dick. I don't remember saying dick, but okay. I'm also dumb as shit, so. But this answer is yes, please. Okay. Oh, fuck. What did I forget? Oh, I'm dumb. Okay. Well, yeah, fair enough. Good thing it doesn't really matter. It's him. Smash. Even if he is French. Smash, look at that mustache. Banana butter. Yeah, it's because it's banana and peanut butter. Cups. Wifey, no. Sorry. You're the one who told me to play the game. I don't know what to tell you. Not the bad cat boy. I mean, did you see the spoon he had? I'm just saying. Triple banana. 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 Nice. Just gotta worry about JoJo's now. JoJo Siwa. Alright. Strawberry cream. Then blueberry. And a single banana on top. What up? Holy shit! Fucking nailed JoJo's. And I got the achievement right on that one. Hell yeah. I didn't even feel like that was a very good one, but apparently I fucking nailed it. I don't think you'd commit a crime. Nice. I figured that's what you meant. Sunday shot. Let's do it. This shit's cocked and ready to go. Nailed it. Hey, I got a rare prize again. Let's do it again. Now we're on to silver, which means I'm gonna start getting a lot of repeat crap. I missed one, but that's fine. Ridiculous. Fuck. Oh my god. I can miss like one more. Okay, we're good. God damn it. This little guy's got right by me. Got distracted. Finally, we're on to a new holiday. Alright, time to change shit out. And I can take the fucking beret off too. This one. It's apparently the most festive. Okay, I can wear any of them. Oh, that's the best one apparently, right there. Okay, I don't have any gloves or anything. Let's get some gloves, I guess. Oh yeah, let's buy some fucking... Let's get this one. Let's get that one. Okay. What do I need? A belt? Fuck, what did I need? Nope, I just needed... What happens if you choose nothing? It doesn't affect anything. It just more... I don't get as nearly as many points. I just need gloves, I guess. It just helps me get extra points and stuff. I'm assuming whatever's the most expensive one is going to be the best. So 45? Is that what I saw? Jesus Christ, why is there like a billion different gloves per holiday? Oh, but skeleton glove sounds pretty great. Oh, gaming glove. There we go. That's the most expensive one. My God. Yeah, we're getting a fucking gaming glove. Ooh, the holiday color of yellow. Piss yellow. How about? Can you please a nudist Freezeria? That is not how this works. This pop is secretly based. It just literally is one single gaming glove. Also, that apparently was enough to push it over the edge, though, to be full holiday spirit. Shit, man, I guess I'm buying like the fucking expensive shit all around. Shit. We'll do. I think the belt was worth a whole lot, so let's buy like the most expensive belt. I think it's a whole lot. I just need maple mornings, please. Rope belt, sash, pirate. Utility belt seems to be the most expensive. Yeah, sure. No, let's do more piss yellow. Can only do so much piss yellow apparently. Can you create? No, that's not how that works. The game would not allow that. That didn't like do shit. That's already like a shit ton. That's a fuck ton. That's a fuck ton. Game, what more can, okay, so glasses. Maybe I'll buy a brand new pair of glasses as well. Just maple mornings. Yo, okay, never mind. I see, never mind. Yeah, I fucking am glad. Okay. Skull mask. The wank glove for professionals only. Harley, every, like, other fucking thing you say gets flagged. How is this still not enough holiday spirit? Oh, it's maybe because my shop doesn't have enough holiday spirit? I just realized that could be playing why. Boom. Fuck, did not mean to do that. I always accidentally do that. Flooring. That one. Nothing. I guess let's buy a couple, or I guess let's see if that improved my fucking holiday spirit. No. So this is just based on me. Oh, okay. I could just put on a different shirt. I didn't realize I had any over there. So this one, it's like this one, that one, this one, this one, this one. Oh, she doesn't need nearly as much apparently. But I can simply not handle it. Yeah, sure. Let's go with that's what's going on here. You look so fucking stupid. You look so fucking stupid. Okay, let's I guess buy some decorations here. Not owned of maple mornings. Fuck it, we'll buy a little bit of everything. Who the fuck's gonna stop me? We'll get rid of this one and this one. Nope. You over there. There you go. This shit looks so crowded and awful. And I think it's funny. It's autumn time. Maple mornings. Cooper. Butterscotch topping. Oh, I think Cooper is donut pieces. I think Cooper's from the original donut, the Pancakeria game. Back before like custom characters were even a thing. Good to see you, buddy. Some butterscotch or that? I guess I wasn't paying attention to whether I got that or not. Large. Donut pieces. Okay. Cooper got that pancake. What are you on about? 1440p. Did my thing drop? Oh, your internet is doing numbers. I thought you were saying that my internet was doing numbers. Banana. I vote smash. Oh, yeah, sorry. Definitely smash. Absolutely. Sorry, I completely forgot we were doing that. Make a tier list of all the different characters. Yep, I agree. Yep. I agree 1000%, Harley. Hello, Soul. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're totally not still just playing Papas. And we're definitely not playing Smash or Pass with all the characters. When I inevitably beat this game, I should like throw every character that's in this game into like a big tier list and just rate everyone based off them, how they look, what I remember about them, and like their go-to order. Matt, you're fine. Don't apologize, Matt. He gives off too much. He gives off too much of a dad vibe. Pass. Yeah, don't question it. It's better. It's better if you don't. Chocolate, but peanut butter and peanuts, and then throw triple banana. Chocolate, peanut, triple banana. Don't you want a daddy though? Hey, you calm down. You got a secret recipe. Pass. Feels the fuckability whether the top, bottom, or dom or sub and sub or dom. That is just too much work. But I'll do based on how I remember them. Alright, s'mores. You're asking a lot for a simple fucking game like this game. It's true. Butterscotch, peanut, and a single cherry. Oi! I know I'm gonna get another one. I could just start preemptively making a fucking peanut butter one. Cannot read chat right now, but I'm sure it's chaos because Harley is talking about me being a bottom. Way too much fucking info there, mate. Don't just Pella Princess. Hey, you don't know that, Harley. See, I'm already like halfway through this. See, I had it prepared, ready to go. I knew another one was coming. See, I'm so smart. I just put the wrong whipping on, I think, right? Yes, I did. Never mind. I take back my smartness. I knew that was gonna happen. I knew it was gonna fuck something up. Well, it's a good thing she's not expecting anything quick enough. We get that fast anyway, so. Well, it is marked as for 18 plus only. Y'all need to calm down. Europeans, am I right? Oh, I got one more customer now. Shit. I'm up to 7 customers per day. Shit. Can you fuck off? You leave my dialect out of this. I didn't even grow up in an area that say y'all. I just say y'all. Americans. Okay, beans on toast, calm it down. Oi, oi, British motherfucker. Tuesday. Well, at least our skills. So you brought this upon yourself. You have no one to blame but yourself. You're the one that came attacking my y'all. Yeah, you find that funny? Yeah. Have knife crime instead. Ooh, woo. Ooh, it's not typically what I mix with that, but they are in America a little bit. Because of the fucking stuff that we own. Or are allowed to own. Boop. Boop. And a boop. Not too bad. Play this step. This is fair. Harley, you sure are using a lot of channel points when you're the one that wanted me to add the meow. Oh my god. Alright, shit. Got it. Yippee. Oh, it didn't. What? What? Oh, I'm fucking dumb. I could have sworn those were connected to something. Oh yeah, I guess not. Shit. Celebrated much too early there. No, I was right. Okay. What? Oh, barely got that. We'll simply buy channel points at the beginning. You technically can by donating bits and subbing, I think, but I don't think you can just buy them. Oops, did not mean to press on that. But I don't really remember exactly how channel points work, I'm gonna be honest. Okay. What? Fuck. I realized exactly what I had to do right at the very end. God damn. Okay, now I'm just up to points ones. Still. And I'll go. Already something for real. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. When the fuck did she get a new one? Oh, I like that a lot better than her goofy ass helmet. Oh, she's got 3 styles? Oh, holiday style. I gotcha. Yeah, I like that a lot better. She doesn't look nearly as goofy. Xandra, our girl. God, guys. Oh, fuck yeah, Xandra. Fuck yes. Are you kidding me? Hell yeah, dark mode Xandra. Guys, calm it down. Let's serve another one of these things just so I can get this achievement here. I'll take a picture of like 2 of these because I'm not going to remember these. Boop, and we'll go with that one. Ladies, let's calm it down here. Okay. Small. Vanilla. Wait, not vanilla, marshmallows. Mint. No, I have not. Contrary to popular belief, not everywhere. Sandra got that Harley look in her eyes. Contrary to popular belief, not every city and state in this country is unsafe. She's feral in the best ways. Yeah, absolutely. That's why I love her so much. All right, boop. What? That's not who's supposed to come. Did I fuck that up? No, that was right. Edna, you bitch. Let's try this, guys. Worst way. You leave Xandra. You leave Xandra alone. I will not stand for Xandra slander. Oh, it's still saying it during a holiday, that's why. Oh, this is just for the topping, that's right. Jesus Christ. Yeah, 9 millimeters. Thankfully, like one of the easiest things you could be shot with, technically. There's definitely easier. You can look at the ammunition casings for a Calibri. That thing is silly and stupid. Felt like hell I cried through. Yeah, I would too. Okay, let me try doing this one as Edna's again, because I feel like I might have fucked it up. Okay. Medium blend. Then white whipped topping. Then chocolate. Oh shoot. Oh right, you were telling me about that. Yeah. There's Edna. You dumb bitch. When I make your thing, you come out, you hoe. Okay. All I wanted to do. Okay. I kind of don't like that that's all I can get for upgrades. Kind of sucks. And S-Pass for real, stop. Oh, wait, yeah. Sorry, my brain was not processing. My brain thought about it the other way. Emlet. Is because she looks like an omelet? Chocolate bacon. Disgusting. As someone who has tried chocolate bacon, it is terrible. Motherfucker, why do you have a whole ass bottle of maple syrup? Fucking pig. Oh, she wants bring back Gilf Granny. She wants it smooth like butter. Like a criminal undercover. I was wondering when they were going to introduce smooth. Okay, yeah, little splash screen. You can go the fuck away. The Canadians invaded. That's kind of the point of this one. Marty, pass. He looks like a douchebag. Hatsune Miku, smash. PDS back to the BTS stance. I'm definitely not a stan by any means. I enjoy their music. I mean, most of it is pretty catchy. But yeah, definitely ain't no stan. Cool. Alright, she wants white topping. Fernanda, smash. Yep. Yes, the stands were batshit insane. And have been, and always will be batshit insane. That goes for any stand, especially like dream stands. Oh my god. Okay, blueberry sauce. Fuck. Oop, off. Okay. You're a medium. Okay, I'm actually gonna start juggling a lot more things now that I have blended as part of the, or smooth as part of one of the blends. Now, chocolate bacon, fucking gross. Furnace hot. You agreed. Oh shit, hell yeah. Yeah, definitely agree with that one. Bless you for the sneezes. Thank you. Smash. Fuck, I don't even know what's in this one. Medium, birthday cake, red velvet. Pause. Okay, cool. We're good. We love botting and scamming. Hell yeah. Oh fuck, what? I thought that would pause the game. I thought the pause. Oh, I pressed the wrong button. That's why. Ugh. We love bots. Imagine being a fan of Minecraft user. Yeah, don't remind me. I bawled my eyes out that day. And again this year. So let's may he rest in peace. 07. 07's in chat. You wanted to be scammed? Yeah, sorry. Automod banned him for I was kind of surprised it's not permanent. 18,000 seconds is not that many, honestly. I think it's like only like an entire day. Been buying my magic beans already. Right, okay, cool. Chocolate. Technoblade was a Minecraft YouTuber. He became very, very popular for a lot of different things. Shit. Johnny, shut the fuck up. Johnny, shut the fuck up. But he got popular for a lot of different things, and he was just a genuinely nice guy. He died due to cancer last year, which is, you know, never what you want to hear. He's so young, too. And he was, like, one of my favorite YouTubers of all time. So, yeah. And 07 is just, it's essentially someone saluting. So, it's technically supposed to be, like, lowercase 7, not 07. Like, lowercase 07. That way it looks like you're saluting to your forehead kind of thing. But nonetheless, he was a great dude, and brought joy to friends, fans, and everyone alike. R.I.P. Technoblade, indeed. I'm always woman enough to cry, to say that I cried and bawled my eyes out that day, and I did for a very long time. Like probably a solid like half an hour, if not longer, because I saw something that said like, I saw something that like was like a tweet saying that like RP Technoblade, and someone said like or something about like fuck cancer, and there was something about someone made, I think, like a slight joke kind of thing. It's like cancer is so and so in Minecraft or something like that, and that's how I learned. And then I found out it was real. I'm like, oh well, fuck. That was a very sad day. Birthday cake. Red velvet. Medium. Okay, I really gotta get in the habit of setting alarms as well. God, fucking gross. Fuck you, Johnny. Johnny has passed because of that fucking... True. Johnny, okay, he did give me 100 though. And I still passed because he put fucking chocolate bacon on his fucking thing. But yes, Technodag Legacy is great though. I feel like he's really kind of taking on that kind of role, and what he's doing is amazing. So, hey, I'm about to Bronze Star Captain Corey. And what? Not even just that. What he meant to everyone, both friends and fans alike. Okay, white. Oh, I want to get some of that merch so bad, and all of it's always going to like sarcoma research and everything too, which is just amazing. Yep, for charity. I really wanted to get the Tommy in it collab with that one. I really like the way it looked, or the Filza one, but I don't really watch Filza that much, so. Agreed. It's a shame they still did a collab with Dream, because fuck that guy. Little piss baby, whiner baby. I like Filza as well. Filza is great. Alright. One of the few Brits I actually like. Felt that one. Alright, so much drama in the Minecraft community. Yeah, you have no idea. Fuck this one. I still have yet to beat, like... Miss the fucking coin again. There we go, there we go. Fuck you, fuck you. Finally, I beat another fucking round of this stupid fucking game. Yeah, I do have no idea. Yeah. Oh, my last Twizzler. So sad. Fuck you, host. More coins? No. Get out of here. That triple really did a number for me. Oh, shit. Nice. That's a bit unnecessary. Fuck you, bitch. I have so many more coins than you. Bitch just knocked a fucking thing into me. What a slut. Now you guys get barely any coins. Fuck you, I love you. Block game is serious business. No. And... So Harley, I don't know what this means. And it got flagged for misogyny. And I don't know if I can allow this one. A lewd or presumptuous woman. Allow it. Okay. There you go. Apparently it's a British term. Okay, I'm surprised it's not been oh, I guess maybe it has been an hour since the last ad. I'll just tell you. I was set to be the lowest amount of ads as possible, so. I say it genuinely doesn't seem that bad, but I guess since it's slang against women, it kind of makes sense. Also, we didn't buy any posters for the festival. Wake up, get out there. I didn't have that out. It has a bunch of waiting points. I'm not allowing that one, Harley. I don't want that one to be used in the future by anybody, so I'm not allowing that one. As many posters as possible. Fuck my walls. Oh god, it looks so wrong. I'm like a team killer, but with misogyny. I want more costumes. I don't have everything. It technically is, but I don't mind the word personally, so. It's quite literally just a word, so. Alright, so I'm just gonna go serve a bunch of random crap in the food truck real quick here. Let's go large. Let's see, I'm gonna make what I would make. So I'd get a large, probably brownie. Likely just chocolate. Can't wait for these clips to resurface and cancel on Twitter. Good. Definitely chunky. Harley is one of those. I guess. I don't know. Probably chocolate sauce. Chocolate chips in there. I'd scream if that happened. If I got canceled, yeah, I don't think I'm going to, for the sense of if they canceled me, it's homophobic. So boom, I win. Enjoy, person. I unbanned the word. You can say it now. You don't have to space it out anymore. I really don't want to keep making shit over here. It's kind of boring to just do this over and over. It flagged bite them. 07 is, it's meant to be typed like this. It's meant to be like someone saluting. So like it's when someone puts it up to their forehead kind of thing. Yeah, it's meant to be like look like someone's saluting. So. Also, that's so funny, Harley. That bite them is considered a sexual thing in this situation. I think that's really fucking funny. We'll praise the sun. Agreed. We are going to play something else for a little bit. Not that I have anything against this game, but I want to play something else right now. So, I'm going to. This actually won't show anything anyway. So, all right. Bite me with Riz. It keeps flagging them. Praise the sun. Yeah. What do I want to play? Let me get it updated. And fuck it, we're playing some Baldur's Gate. Oh, I'll try to. Okay, I didn't get bored. I gotta keep myself from playing. It's a silly little brain needs to do multiple different things. I can still play the game for hours. I just want to have something that's a little bit more action-packed for everyone. So let me quickly change up the title here. Soul, shut your mouth. Bold. Okay. Oh, fuck yeah. Thank you, Harley. You are right. Okay, so apparently there's also Twitch integration with this, so this could be really cool. Harley, how do you still have more? I could have sworn it limited that to 5 per stream. Okay. Cuff slide. Okay, we are getting a bunch of lag right now, which also could just be that it's loading right now, but we are locked at 60 frames. Okay, we're speeding back up. Looks like we might be locked at 60, 41, 52. Sus. Okay, I'm going to fuck with this with my settings a little bit here. Options, video. I need to turn on. My friend was saying something that there's a. Should turn on. I need to turn on. Oh, I thought I was playing a different song. And your hydration is important. You guys like the new title? I think it's pretty good. Performance. Here we go. They recommended this that way I can that way it focuses frames over anything else. So we're gonna start a second game. Because I've got my Natty Joe here, but we're gonna start a new game, balanced of course, for a character for here on stream, and we'll kind of keep an eye on it. Let me know if it starts lagging real bad, because I know when it's loading, it's gonna lag my character. Definitely not for. Sure. No, don't die stream. I think we're good. I think it's just because anytime it lags, like anytime it loads something, it lags it. So, should be fine for now. Though it dropped the cutscene down to 30 frames, which is interesting. Also, there's like no sound right now, and I don't know why. Hopefully the audio wasn't important to you guys, because... Oh, it's a little bit there. Here, I'll pause the music for just a second here. Back alive. Oh, I forgot to enable the Twitch thing. They can't kill me. What's wrong with your PC? What do you mean what's wrong with my PC? Also, what did you miss? I had nothing. Tadpole, you got it right there. Yummy. Yummy, yummy. Couldn't hear. Why couldn't we hear what is what I meant? Oh, nothing. I accidentally had volume down. Who are you? Your mom. I won't reset. Okay, so first off, get that master volume turned up that you guys can actually hear. And I need to turn on. Where is it? Okay, give me a sec. Authorize. It's still connecting. It says it connected on my end, so I'm just waiting. Oh, there we go. So now, I think, pull it up on my own side here. Make it the hottest bitch possible. I'm going to be creating a short Oathbreaker Paladin to be an absolute dipshit of a person. Creating a short person. I don't remember how you access. Oh, there we go. It's just on the screen. Oh, it only works if you guys are watching on PC, I think, though. So I don't really know if it's going to work or not. But, nonetheless, we will resume. Of course, we're making a custom character. I wanted a short bitch. I think I was going to go dwarf. But I could... Dwarf is going to be proficient. It would be a good paladin. A Harley. Make a goblin, call it Harley. Going to your PC now. Cool. Yeah, I think you guys can like view my characters, like vote on certain dialogue things or something like that. It might work on mobile, I just don't know. First off, goblin's also not a race you can play in this game. Because this is more meant for like light army. Yeah, we'll definitely go dwarf then. All right. Goblin douche dwarf Harley. Well, it's not one. Make a bad bitch.
Where to? Let's hope the locals.
Be wary. This place is
It's hope.
More of those wretched things.
There we go. Seems dwarf-like. She's being a cultist. She's been just like fucked up shit. Freckle quantity. Give her a bunch of freckles here. Freckle intensity. Bah. Like that. I'll be back soon. Cool. Just remembered so I don't get fucking flagged. It's, sorry, Harley. Can't have that, unfortunately. I'm glad I remembered. Because that could have been really bad. That could have been really, really, really bad. Got weird religious trauma. Yeah. I can't. I can get banned if I do that. I need something that screams cultist. It's like, I kind of fuck with the octopus ones. Let's do... like a bright, nah. Purple, yeah. Piercing style. Whatever gives me the most piercings. Something on the face, preferably. Okay. Most of these I know are on the ear, so let's just go with like a... There was like one that was like a couple on the nose. We'll go with that one. There we go. Eyes fucked up. She got... No, I want... Thank you. Got one black eye. Chatterbait stream went. No. We need Bell to get... God damn it. So we can have one fully... Wait, what? One fully black eye, and then I want something like that just fucking glows. Could just want one of these is like has a really glowy look. I guess just maybe on my character I had it. do, I think, a flame red. Yeah, I'll go with that flame red there. Okay. Next is makeup. Yeah, definitely some like crying with like a black lipstick too. Oh, wait, I need to turn up the intensity. Or maybe it should be red. Nah, black. Definitely black. The worst makeup. There's not really like a worst makeup option, to be fair. Cool. Hair. I want something that I don't want bald. I want something that's like frizzed to hell though. Something that just looks like a bit deranged. Look at the electric soccer type girly. Exactly. Exactly. Gotta be something good in here. Still want her to have that feminine hair. Not really a whole lot of good options for... That's too elf. Oh, here we go. I think it's pretty good. It's gonna be like fucking full white here. Yeah, full white here, with a highlight of like red. But the red is the blood. That's too Oblivion Doring fan. Okay. And then graying. Absolutely, but graying with more red. That's actually just kind of badass, I'm not even gonna lie. That's actually fucking sick. I've just made a cool character is all I did. I just made a cool character. No facial hair. I just made a cool character. Oh fuck. I should have picked Subrace first. Give her some stubble. No. We'll go with this one anyways. That's fine. Paladin. Oath of Vengeance. Well, none of these. Because I know you can oath break at any point. This one, okay. Set wrong. Set aside your own purity to right wrongs and deliver justice to those who commit the most grievous sins. I think this would be the right one then. Oath of Vengeance. Put the greater evil, exerting your wisdom. No mercy for the wicked. Okay. What is this one? Healing Radiance. What is this one? Holy Rebuke. Okay, we'll go with this one. What does this one do? You are out of the gate. Okay, that's cool. Okay. Background. Probably like a criminal or something. She looks like a fucking criminal. We'll just use whatever's recommended. Clear, use recommended. Hi, Remy. We're playing Baldur's Gate now, so. Yeah, dumb as brick seems about right. Yeah, we'll just give it what it recommends. Hardly 5 dwarf for real. I actually really like how she looks. Athletics, intimidation. Yeah, absolutely. We need a name, guys. We need a name for her. I want some suggestions. Criminal, dumb, former cultist. Yeah. Harley Jr. Harley Jr. This is pretty good. Any other ideas? No, I like Harley Jr. too much. If I could fucking spell. God damn it. Junior. Harley Phoenix? How many channel points? What do you mean, how many channel points? Yeah, I like that. If I can fucking spell that either. Let's do it. Harley Phoenix.
You need a guardian.
Alright.
Choose one.
Now, what do we do for guardian? Do we make someone who's just like the complete opposite bad bitch kind of thing? Or if you guys, if that is the definition of you guys, do I make me? No, not doing Phoenix. Make natty vibes? Okay, got it. We'll do the human. So find the quick body here. Tall bitch, for sure, without a doubt. Not short bitch, tall bitch. Harley penis, no. General.
Remarkable.
Follow your instinct.
Remarkable.
Okay, we'll go with that one. Go with that one. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. Really heavy scars. Maturity, just a teensy little bit. Just a tiny little bit of freckle, because I have just a tiny little bit, but not a whole lot. I just want to just have a couple here and there. She does. She has like a she's a very gruff voice. I feel like if I had a chance, like in like this situation, I would have like something super regal. Such as that. Or, no, we'll go with that. I like that. She got a boo-boo. She's just me personality-wise. Just full-on black eyes. Nope, nope, not that kind of black. This black. No, wait, this black. Nope, this black. I was right with this one. Makeup. I mean, yeah, we'll go with that. Red tint, fucking black lipstick through and through. I don't want the glasses. Harley Jr., my child. Hair. I mean, there's not much for wings. Like, there's this, but I just don't like how. I guess that kind of works. But like, yeah, right. Where's the natty wings? Yeah, because this is like the most intense I can get for wings, so we're gonna go with that one. There's a couple like half-shaved ones here. This is about the closest I can get to the way I like to do my hair. Where'd it go? Where the fuck did it go? There we go, perfect. Okay. That's just too short. We'll go with this one. That's how I'd like it to look sometime in the future, so. Except I still hate the black in this game. Like, that's just gray, but I digress. No highlights, but definitely graying. I need a much shinier gray here. There we go. Alright, cool. That's the Guardian. Yippee. See you later, Stinky. Oh, I'm sorry. He's just EP. Don't worry about it, man. Everybody watches, but I'm watching for your guys' sake. Tentacles. Oh fuck yeah, I just remembered Cthulhu cameo? No, it's a Mind Flayer, but I... It's honestly starting to get uncanny, like how human-like a lot of these people look. Thought this was safe for work? It is safe for work. Damn! I missed some of this my first time around. Not the Wilhelm scream. Because tentacles. I mean, Mind Flayers use tentacles and shit. I mean, they literally are tentacle-like, so. Pretty much Squidward. Yeah, fuck him up, dragon. Mind Flayer smash. Yeah, absolutely. Alright, so I will say, on my actual playthrough, like on my one I do my personal, I'm being like a kind person. I'm going to be an absolute jackass with this character, by the way. Like a genuine piece of shit. Study with like, the bad guys and shit. The true Harley experience. They'll eat your brain. Kinda. Not really, though. Do the most chaotic dumb shit? Alright, yeah, that's kind of the plan. Genuinely, like, be a bad person, side with the goblins and shit. Be a horrible, horrible human being. And I give them brain first. Real Harley shit. Hey, yo, what? Rawr. Siding with the goblins and evil, I don't want to be good. God, these cinematics look fucking gorgeous. Made me audibly all. K rar channel points redeem is needed. I can probably do that later. I can give you a rare. She's so small. Kind of funny that we went into it thinking that we were gonna make her all goofy, but she ended up being kind of fucking radical. She's so fucking small. That's so funny. Oh my god.
My head.
Mind Flayer. Your pearl is mine.
Dead. Good.
Butthole. Oh wait.
Odd. I feel
Really need it, but.
better.
Oops, not mean to close this, Victor. Okay. What's this? Welcome back.
Schematic of a nautiloid flashes into your mind. Nerves, sinews. As much
Look, these
living
ads, I'm missing the
being
story.
shown.
I don't know why this ad is showing me like one every hour. Shut up.
To talk?
Oh. The stare. Oh, that narrator? Oh, absolutely. I love her voice so much. I was going to say, Remy, how'd you get that thing? I'm like, that's for subs only. And they're like, oh, right, you can unlock them with
Come
points.
to save us from this place. From this place you'll free us.
Turn up the voices a little, please.
They return.
It's as loud as it gets for that. Let me turn everything else down a little bit. And then I'll turn up the desktop audio just a tad here. Let me know if that gets too loud.
The enemy.
You're welcome.
So many enemies. A newborn. Born new from this husk.
You realize you're talking to an intellect devourer, a minion of the mind flayers who abducted you.
Destroy the brain. Fuck this brain. Yummy. Brain, it's what's for dinner.
Moving in.
Tiny little legs. I do get I was smash, that's not the right word. I do get smite, right? Oh, I don't think the smite right away. Crunchy, a snack for later. Brain. Wow, you're so cool.
Abomination. This is your end.
Your head throbs and your skin tingles.
Your head
Visions rush past. A dragon's wing, a silver sword, and a flash of your face seen through the strange woman's eyes.
Oh. My head. What is this? Skvar. You are no thrall. Vlaakith blesses me this day.
Filthy greenskins.
Together, we might survive.
Think I was a thrall.
Carry mind flayer parasites. Unless we escape, unless we are cleansed, our bodies and minds will be tainted and twisted. Within days, we will be Geich, mind flayers.
Who are you?
Who am I? Your only chance of survival.
Hey, Topic Source, thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. Being orc racist for giggles. I tend to be being a bad person in general, so.
Then we find the helm and take control of the ship. We will address the matter of a cure for this infection once we reach the material plane.
Once we reach the material plane. What's up, imps? You fucking goofy ass looking dudes. What did this fucking dude say? Yummy. Alright. Extreme elements. Welcome, welcome. They crungly. They crungly indeed. Alright, let's just... Oh, I just wanted to move in. Show the answer. Well, laters. Oh, see ya.
On the move.
Blood comes easy these days.
Attack.
Fall by my hand.
Alright. So incredible. But Harley Phoenix. I don't know why I already forgot that was your guys' name. Wow, you guys are really bad at fucking attacking. Which does more damage? Oh, my fucking sword by far does.
Let my name be known.
Thanks, Y Spot. Laters.
I won't give in.
Bonk. How dare you actually hit me? Yeah! Loot the imps.
You proved surprisingly adequate in battle. Now, to the helm.
Oh wait. So do my wares. How much is worth? Not enough to give a shit. My wares. Definitely take. Send to my wares. Loot everything. I'm a true loot goblin.
Need to find a way forward.
Who's this dum-dum? Ah, 3 whole gold. Thanks, man. Thanks for being dead. I'm so glad this game decided just to go straight gold rather than like gold, silver, bronze, and all that shit. Or copper, I mean.
Ship won't be able to take another dragon. We need to get out before it's too late.
I don't need that. Dead thrall. More gold. Alright. On forward
Better
here.
not be cursed.
Istik, back! Touch nothing without knowing its purpose.
Another mystery. Can't read the script.
Wow, my
Not
arcana
now.
sucks.
We must go to the helm. Eager for battle.
Oh, you just realized this game is kind of... No, it is D&D. It's not kind of like D&D.
Arcane sigil I cannot
Well.
make sense of.
The man isn't dead, but he's totally unresponsive.
Yeah, it's literally based off D&D 5th edition, 5th edition. What? No, I won't do it. I don't know. I was thinking GURPS. Hello in there.
Get me out of this damn thing! We have no time for stragglers.
The construction is
This ship is crashing. Do you intend to die for a Try that control. Hurry!
Or speedrun this intro, so you can do anything you want. Pretty much. I played this intro
the
before,
console
so you know.
appears dormant. The mechanisms are completely unrecognizable at first, but then you spy an empty socket.
Can't wait for a real D&D. Absolutely.
Nothing. The console remains dormant.
Oh right, because I need like a key or some shit. I think my character was like had like Arcana, so. Pick this up. Nothing possible thoughts wins this to play through. Literally, that is the plan. Pick up.
Brain in a jar.
Read.
Faint images appear in your mind. A brain, a Githyanki warrior, and centuries of darkness.
Do anything? Or is that just my necklace? Cool.
Seems
Ew.
simple enough.
Gotta intellect devour.
The console appears. The mechanisms are completely unrecognizable. Nothing. The
What?
console
What do you want
remains
from me?
dormant.
Empty socket for what?
Come on! Get me out of this thing! Keep
I'm confused. Cannibalism possible? I don't think so. I had Arcana last time. Like, I had proficiency in the arts. Well, they're dead.
Already dead.
Well. Thanks for your gold. Appreciate it. Shadowheart, if you don't shut the fuck up, I swear to... I swan to John. You're dumb.
The mechanisms are completely...
Lady, I don't know if I can, because I don't know what to tell you. I don't have Arcana and shit this time around. What if I have her shoot it? Just in case. Whoops, the corpse is dead. Save muscle moment. I'm trying to. I don't know. Probably all of them. Well, I didn't do it. I expected it to explode. I'm gonna be honest.
Curious. Can't give up now.
But she's red and
Light on
sexy.
Come on! Get me out of this! Wait! It cannot... They will not die here! Keep...
What happens if I just smack it?
Don't bother. You're barely dented.
Girl, I don't know what to say because I genuinely do not know how to get you out of there.
The console. Nothing. The mechanisms are completely
Okay,
unrecognizable.
I think I gotta get something to come back and save her because I don't have what I need. Compared to my sorcerer, this is much harder. I gotta actually do things. I can't just speedrun shit. Oh, that's going the correct way. I don't want to do that.
Mind flayer horticulture.
Go to this sphincter. Shadowheart, I'm fucking trying, ho. Shut up. Oh, here we go. I found a key. Yippee!
The console appears dormant. The mechanisms are complete nothing.
What? That wasn't it? I thought the key would be used for that. Well, damn it. That's what I'm saying.
How many hosts of these gay
Dazed
infected?
woman is trapped.
This part go well.
As you place your
Going
hand
twice.
on the pod, you hear something. A presence connected to the pod, commanding the person.
That song's just stuck in my
inside
head right now.
to change.
Sorry, lady. Oops.
Change her. Changed at the pull of a lever. How?
Bloody beard. I'm not waiting around for that to happen to us.
Another brain.
This might unlock those controls next to the pod.
Ah, there we go. That's all I needed. Okay, cool. Can I talk to... Also, good job doing the
Newborn
touching the murder
mind
button.
flayer stares at you, weak and dazed.
Motherfucker, you're lucky allowed. I'm not allowed to. Yeah, to be fair, I didn't know that's what that did. So, you know. Sounds about accurate. Oh, I don't need this. Alright, Shadowheart, we're finally getting you out of here, bud.
The console, but what is its purpose? Will it free the captive?
Oh boy.
Transform
A nice
her?
-1.
That's more unfortunate.
Ah, we're still good.
The pulsing glow and organic lines. This device is different from the one that caused the other captive to transform. Perhaps it will
Place my hand on the console.
Suddenly, you feel a hideous squirming in your head. The parasite.
Keep accidentally skipping
Then discomfort
dialogue and I don't need to.
fades, and another sensation washes over you. Connection. Authority.
Wisdom. It's only a 2. So as long as it's not a nat 1.
You feel the biomechanical brain of the console process your command and yield to it. A shiver runs across
Hardly
your
brainworms
mind.
have been given.
You feel sated.
These are indeed brainworms. Yay! We did it. Oops, I did not mean to skip her. Wake up, soldier.
I thought that damn thing was going to be my coffin. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Your
Oh,
mind lurches into her thoughts. Her gratitude is mixed with wariness. Because you
what, was
have
she
a
fucking
gift
moaning?
with you.
Probably a little bit. But more like a
You keep
moan of pain.
Dangerous company. I did. It must be because of those parasites they put in us. They'll have to wait. I need to get off this ship alive first. Let me come with you. We can get off this ship and watch each other's backs along the way.
Oh, let's get going, huh?
Shut up.
Harley Phoenix. Kinky bitch.
One
Yeah.
moment.
What's that?
It's nothing. Enough of this chatter. We need to... She's right.
Alright, let's go. Onwards and forwards. Why is my child from Georgia? I don't know.
We're nearing the helm. Once inside, do as I say. Who put you in charge? I'll trust my own judgment. Kanyank.
To be fair, I really don't trust the orc. Even in my first playthrough, I really don't trust it. Whoa, racist.
Brawl. Connect the nerves of the transponder.
But yeah, fuck this
You
mission.
must escape. Now.
Do it. We will deal with the Geich after we escape. This thing's falling fast. Got to right it.
What the fuck, Harley? I don't know what you're expecting. I mean, it's Harley we're talking about here.
Got to move.
Nothing important is ever easy.
That one was actually cool. Get ready to get fucked up, bitch. Aw, he's dazed though, so that's good. Hate the board, except grub back gag. The grub gag. Hey, don't hit me.
No time to waste.
Nailed him. Ah, damn it. Critical miss, idiot. Damn, 2 damage, you fucking bitch. Fuck out of here. Idiot.
Moving.
Nailed me instead.
No choice but to keep going.
Bitch.
These boots have seen everything.
These boots are made for walking. Okay, apparently he's got a really cool sword, so I might help kill him if possible. Oh, he does have a lot of health though. I'll just kill this guy. Work.
My path be true.
Use the boots. Okay, so trying to think of who's my least damaging person.
Got to
Probably
move.
her, honestly. We'll give. Oh, I guess I can. Where is it? Yeah, guiding bolt. Got high defense. Come on, got a chance though. Oh, hit! Hell yeah! Should have like a advantage on all of you.
Come on, can't stay idle. Wonder if the gods are watching me.
This might work. Cool.
Leave him to me.
No, because I want a sword.
Ignore the devil. We must take the transponder.
Meh, don't wanna. You ever with the types of games watching is exhausting? Yeah, fair. Oh yeah, this ain't gonna fucking work. Yeah, fuck this. Sorry.
It's now or never.
Ah, you still got time. Got such low chances of hitting on these though, is the problem.
Onward. It's clear. Hurry before they strike.
I'm going as fast as I can, bitch.
Well, so much for peace.
But I want his sword so bad. Fuck it. Yeah, take that whole damage. Wow. I don't think he'll attack me though. Otherwise it'd be kind of some bullshit. Why does he not get like a surrounded thing? Nice! Ah, I saved against this lacerate though. You're just saying words at this point. Damn it. I don't know why I did. Why I got so close before I threw that.
Nothing will stand in my way.
Do concussive smash. Let's go. Ah, he saved again though. Yeah. Oh shit, she's like taking a lot of damage.
Take this, or Zarya will have your head.
Oh god, these other guys came in. Imagine knowing what numbers mean. Bada bada blah. God damn it, they can take a goddamn opportunity attack on me. Piss off. God damn it. Lady, learn to do some fucking damage. Yeah, okay, I don't really care. I don't have anything I can do from this range. Ah, they're too heavy to pick up, otherwise I would. Damn. Oh shit, he's almost dead. Should probably get the fuck over there. Oh, come on. Learn to hit some fucking shit. Yeah, they really have it out for that work.
Come a little closer.
So glad it panned over to them and not just the screen didn't just teleport. Uh-oh.
Your turn now.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Heading there.
That's not good. Oh, it's a touch thing.
Where do I go from here?
Okay, it doesn't look
With
like any
haste.
boat. We got no movement.
I will ascend.
That's not good. Let the orc die. It'll be fine. Okay, I think I... Oh no, I don't get a turn before he actually gets a turn. Jesus, all my friends are playing fucking Baldur's Gate 3 right now. Uh-oh. Wow, cool, I went down already. Let's go. Anyways.
The helm's alien transponder.
Use the green skin as a
You
shield.
made it in
Well,
time.
we're good. This is supposed to be your character, by the way, so it's kind of on me. Harley as a shield. Well, Harley Phoenix went down, to be fair, so. Bitch, you're supposed to be unconscious. Wee. I've seen a really funny clip of that one. If I remember, they take a lot of emotional and physical damage. Got them resistances. You lived. Psych attacks don't work because I simply don't have a brain. We did it, guys. We win. Weak to smashable enemies, though.
As you wake, the tadpole squirms in your skull.
Man, fuck that tadpole. Check for
Other than
injuries.
the infection, you're more or less intact. A miracle, given everything you've been through, but it'll all be for nothing if you don't find help soon. The tadpole is a death sentence, and the clock is ticking. You need a cure.
I'm a monster fucker, so putting Harley in F tier for fuckable monster. Leave the brain worm alone. It's doing its thing. Quick bathroom break. If you guys need water, go get fucking water. You motherfuckers, all of you motherfuckers, hydrate. Okay? Go get water. Drink water. I'll be back. Alright, gamers, I'm back. Hater. Hater. Why are we hating? What is happening? Go drink some water. You too, Soul. When I said to go drink some water, I meant all of you. So, please go drink water, everyone. So, yeah. Okay.
Best be on
Big
my way.
Moulin. Oh, there's a hater. Why so? Hey, Shadowheart. Just kidding. I knew she was gonna be there, so. Wake her. Get up, stupid.
You're alive. I'm alive.
Ooh, orb. It's not really an orb.
How is this possible?
It's more of a,
I remember the ship. I remember falling.
oh, what is it called? Not
Then nothing.
not dodecahedron. I don't know whatever the name of it. Commit robbery.
You might want to reconsider calling her a friend. Looks like she ran off
Take her
without
dice.
us.
There you go. Yeah, take her d20.
No, I don't recognize this place.
I technically can. I can
But
actually just straight up
anything's
grab
an
it from her
improvement
inventory,
on
which is
where
kind
we
of funny.
just came from. First things first, we need supplies, shelter, and most of all, a healer. We might have escaped, but we still have these little monsters in our heads. We need each other,
Take her
and we
D.
both know what's at stake. Can't think of better company. One thing, just before we go. I wanted to thank you again for freeing me.
Yeah, yeah.
It would have been all too easy for you to run right past my pod. But you
Yeah, I don't know
didn't.
where she's at in this game. I'm gonna be honest.
I'll remember that. Lead the way.
Okay, let's go. Water.
Something good here, I hope.
Loot the corpses. Leave nothing behind. Fish. Mine. Fish. Mine.
Fresh water. There must be a settlement somewhere nearby.
Can't. This. Wait, what was the name of the book? Shanties for the Bitch Queen. We all row, and we all row, and we all row with the spray upon our necks, and we all row with the spray upon our backs, and we all row with the sea beneath our feet, and the bitch queen stays the storm. Wave mother, lash us to the prow. Wave mother, we ask to sail your skirt, if you allow. Wave mother, sink us if you will. Wave mother, our skulls are yours, with brine and sand to fill. Souls away and anchors still. The wind won't move without the bitch queen's will. We will wait gladly years and days till the witch queen brings the waves. Hey ho, she told us so. Hey hold, hey ho, she told us so. This is coming with me. What? I thought I would like pick it up, like as in like carry it. I didn't realize it would just go to my inventory. I just kind of casually have a human person in my inventory. Why is that how that works? That's so funny. No, that takes up way too much weight. Oh man, that's so funny though. Put them back in there. No. I will not. Okay. Yay. This is something I can't get into for a little bit because I don't have lockpicking tools right now. Put me in there. just put you in my pocket. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about it. Just put you right inside there.
More of those wretched things.
Oh god damn it! I didn't mean to pick up the person again. Drop. I meant to just loot them. That's so funny. Yeah, pussy, come here. See what happens. See what happens. I think I would get all the weight that they currently have. That's just kind of how that works. This game does take into account all that, to be fair.
Vicious filth. Best keep some distance, or this will be a short fight.
As I move in for a smash.
Sometimes the only way out is through.
Yeah, get fucked, idiot. Flush backpack? No. Awful. Bitch. Oh, I'm sending fire. Fuck. Oops. That's on me.
Survival is all that matters.
Get fucked. Ouchies. Still on fire.
You fight well. Perhaps our survival isn't such a distant prospect.
Oh, we could literally smash those things. I'm too proud of her. Oh, I'm so proud of her.
Have to keep going. No
Treasure
traps,
chest.
please.
Yippee. Okay. Simple toxin, delicious. Really need a void bulb. Another one.
Open up.
Oh, definitely take that. Oh, cool. Fair collection. We'll take that. I'm surprised. Maybe a chest to store corpses in. Or we could, technically. Game lets you fuck with a lot, to be fair. Yes, please.
Bet I can crack that open.
It's my deck set. Oh, I can give myself guidance too. Only 5. This is easy peasy. Ah, easy peasy. Easy peasy. Yeah, I think I'm proficient with medium, right? Yeah. I hope so. I want to call you a slur. So. At least you're upfront about it. Also, bitch, drink a goddamn healing potion. And then I need to give her like 2 of these. Split item, 2, send 2, Shadowheart.
On my way.
My boy. Gabo? Gabo wasn't killed by my TOS? I guess not.
Hurry! I've got one of those brain things cornered.
Oh, he's so fine.
There, in the grass. You can kill it, can't you? Like you killed the others?
Oh, he's so fine. Oh! Anyways.
I was hoping for a kind soul. Well, not to worry.
He's so fucking fine. You think you can get me, motherfucker? Apparently you fucking can.
Shh. Not a word. Let's try to keep that.
I don't care if he's got an English accent. He's so fine. He is so fine. Look at him.
Keep your distance.
Look at him.
No need for this.
He is fucking gorgeous.
I need her alive. Stow that blade, or I'll show you just how messy things can
He
get.
is so fine.
Promises, promises. But I have other business, I'm afraid.
God damn it.
Now, I saw you on the ship, didn't I? Not? Splendid. And now you're going to tell me exactly what you... to me. Don't lie to me.
Your mind twists. You're looking out of unfamiliar eyes, prowling dark, busy streets. You try to hold the memory, but it fades to the worm. The light, the fear.
What was that? What's going on?
Surprise.
You're not one of them.
That's what I've been trying to say, Asterion.
They took you.
Tism Riz powers.
Just the same as me.
I should be voice acting this character. What am I doing? I need to be Harley Jr.
The ground with your innards. Apologies.
God, he's so fun. You'd have to do better.
I'm
than
out of
offer
wine and
apologies.
flowers, so I hope an introduction will suffice.
It will.
My name's Astarion.
Astarion.
I was in Baldur's
Nah,
Gate
voice
when those
acting?
beasts snatched me.
Nah. Baldurian?
Is that so? We clearly move in different circles. So, do you know anything about these worms?
The Irish accent? I can't do Irish. Yes, unfortunately, they'll turn us into mind
Turn us
flayers.
into...
Really, stop
Of
getting
course it'll
TOS.
turn me into a monster. What else did I expect?
No.
Although
Do what I want.
it hasn't
Now
happened
I'm
yet.
pressured. Now you guys want me to, so I'm going to.
If we can find an expert, someone that can control these things, there might still be time.
Do the roar. Do the roar.
You know, I was ready to go this alone, but maybe sticking with the herd isn't such a bad idea. And you seem like a useful person to know. All right, I accept.
Yeah, of course. Do the roar. Roar. Is that good? Was that pretty good? Cool. I was gonna assume that was good. All right, we get spells and shit. Defense is almost always a good one. Just getting an extra AC is almost always good. Not a pussy for real. I don't know what you want from me, Soul. Fuck off. You're welcome. Yeah, I'll go with defense. Spells. So I get actual spells now. So what do I have currently prepared? Definitely Wrathful Smite. Cure Wounds, definitely. Do the Irish accent? No, I can't do Irish. I don't want to. Command, definitely. Pale Duel. Let's see, Bless. Bless is pretty good. Searing Smite. Oh, what does this one do? Frightens, yeah. It just sets on fire. Divine Favor. But she literally dogged me before. Yeah, that doesn't mean I can do... Doesn't mean I can do fucking an Irish accent. Yeah, do an Irish person. Damn it. Oh god. I don't really want command. I don't really want that one. But which one do I want instead? Maybe Bless, because Bless can be really useful. Yeah. Yeah, cool. I was just gonna double healers, my lord. Did not look at any of her shit, and I just realized that. Well, hopefully she has some good stuff on her. Thankfully, level 2 isn't a super important one. Alright, gamers, let's roll.
Right. What now?
Your mom.
Let's have a look.
For Nat, yes, because Jesus. Oh, just go the way I've already been. think, right? Yeah. Anything cool? Anything cool? Oh shit.
That thing.
You approach the dying monster. This is the thing that abducted you. You could end its life here and now, if only you didn't feel compassion. Compassion.
No, you
Yes,
should be
you feel
furious.
hate, and you deserve to be punished for it. Made to bow before this creature in shame. It's possessing your mind, forcing you to love it, but then the feeling slips. The creature's mind seems to focus elsewhere.
That's Squidward. Come on, at least a 2. Let's go.
Your minds fuse, lusting for something that is gone. But then its grip claws back with a vengeance. A vice
tentacle
locking
daddy.
your mind into obedience. It needs sustenance to survive, and with your very body, you can provide.
I just realized my fucking overlay blocks part of this. You guys can't actually see everything that's happening. Didn't fuck the monster. There's technically this. I'm not actually gonna kiss him though. You fuckers. Immediately I fuck off. Okay, fine. It's not gonna kiss. She's not gonna kiss him.
What in the hells? Get away from that thing!
I'm putting a quick save right here.
Warm, wet tentacles wrap
I feel like you just
themselves
killed your
around
character.
your head. And for the first time in your life, you're perfectly happy.
Well, good job. You fucking dumbasses. Yeah, I know. You fucking idiots. Anyways, best ending. You're so fucking stupid. God
What in
damn
the
it.
hells? Get away from that thing!
Anyways. Oh my god, thank god for guidance. Yeah, that's what happened.
The monster lies exhausted, defeated. Its eyes, wet orange pearls, radiate malice.
At the ready.
Anyway, so now we've learned, you guys have terrible opinions on things. So, yeah. Need to go this way. There is sex in this game. I have it disabled, though. Yeah, he didn't actually do anything. Like, pretty sure he ate my fucking head, but, like, yeah. So, she's approved because I don't want to get banned on Twitch, actually. Never mind, I can jump over stuff. Oops. Anyways. Not sure who those guys are up there, but I'm gonna come back to that area. That makes sense to do the stream there. I don't know if I could do it like that, 'cause I'm pretty sure it's a webcam only. I don't know if that's actually how that works. I don't know, though, because I've never been on the website. I could be 1000% wrong about that. Chapel. Go to the chapel and we're gonna get married. Go to...
You both twice as tall as me, but have half the bloody backbone.
But we don't know what that thing even is. And what about the crypt?
I'm telling you, if
Yeah, it's just called streaming to you on Twitch. I mean, on Discord.
break in for days. Now we stop.
Stop!
Got ourselves competition already. That's our shit.
I love the short man. Love the short man. He's my new favorite. Kiss the shorty. I don't think I can. Could kill him though. Didn't though.
Well, in that case, come on, you lot. No point in getting killed.
Be nice to
Second
his
worm
husband.
gets the cheese and all.
Second mouse gets the cheese, no?
Nobody's getting any damn cheese. Now move it.
Okay, bye. Oh my god, there was a lot of them. Thank god I didn't attack them.
I thought we had a fight on our hands.
Nope, I'm just too charismatic to lose. How do I oath break? That's what I want to know. That's all I. That's all I care about is learning how to oath break, because normal paladins are boring. Camp, send to camp.
Here goes nothing.
Oh, Styrian.
With pleasure.
Commit sins. Commit sin. I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. Do fantasy drugs.
Everything all right out there?
Oh, cancel on that. Yeah, if you're gonna commit, what the fuck? Give us trigger some trap. Yeah, he needs help. Ah, oh no. Watch out. Fuck. Come on. Ah, just barely enough. Let's go. Okay, fuck the subby Brit with flesh.
Oh, I told him it wasn't safe out there. Get inside and I'll rustle up some bandages.
Keep your
Hey, he's inspired. Hell yeah.
No one back home will ever believe this.
Who the hell? You're dead.
Surprised, haha. Oh, this is me. I don't have smite, do I? No, I don't. Damn! Thank you. I will take that. Look at that. Anyways.
Should mind my step.
Which has to be an ability. It's definitely not, so that.
Yeah, stale. It's been centuries since any prayers disturbed it.
Oh fuck
Who
yeah,
those
dried
prayers
sausage
for?
links.
Normally the patron god is obvious. Not here.
Maybe I need more pockets.
What my inventory's still looking good. Supply pack, definitely gonna pick that up.
Let's see what this does.
Loot everything. Gobble the sausage of the Harley run. This is the Harley run after all. I can't eat it now. I have to wait till I actually go to camp. But yeah, I can't. I definitely can. Speaking of which, I thought they used to be sent to camp. Or is it sent to camp in like the sense of? Nope, not add to my wares. I need to send this to camp. Oh, okay, I guess. I might buy this game. It's a lot of fun if you have a PC that can run it, that was the big thing.
Astarion's an interesting fun.
Plaque.
Ancient, indecipherable text covers the plaque.
A dead tongue. Whoever worshipped here must be long gone.
Anything else cool in here? Or is it just boring shit? Oh, wait, here we go.
Keep a blade close. Simple.
The 3080 should be fine. Yeah, yeah, you'll be fine. I'll go to Harley one way or another. Look at that shit. Look at all those fucking bonuses and shit. Oh, goddamn. It is a lot of fun, though. You truly can kind of do whatever the fuck you want. Oh, hi. This is awkward.
They won't know what bit them.
Can't reach just. Oh, it's because I'm in the fucking way. God damn it. Well.
How'd you get past Andor? Back off!
Back off. 50 quid, fuck. Yeah, it's. I'd say wait for it to go on sale. It's a great game, but wait for it to go on sale.
Still breathing, despite everything.
Not enough movement. God damn it. Is there anything I can do from like afar? Oh, there's my smite. Okay, yeah, there it is. I'm free, fuck me. Oops. God damn it. Well, I think I can do about that. Oh, let's get out of the fucking doorway this time. Fuck on this. God damn it.
Yes.
Hell yeah. You gonna run like a little bitch? Alright, so, oh, you just get ranged to be able to shoot. Fuck you. Damn it. Motherfuckers hit. Probably seek the Lord for his help. No.
Can't even catch my breath.
Get that religion shit out of here.
Moving.
There we go. Owie zowie. Boopy owie. It's we're just gonna use another full army. Seeing God's schlong. Wasn't impressed. No, get that shit out of here. Pick up another wares.
Moving ahead. It's been a long day. I need to rest soon.
Okay.
I'll give it a shot.
Anything cool in here? No. This sure is a lot of words that I'm not reading.
What's inside?
Someone else is still here and I can hear their ass speaking.
No lock. No handle. How does it open?
Oh. Probably this candlestick. Oh, damn it. Maybe this candlestick. Yeah, I was kind of hoping it would be like a secret switch you could like pull on or something.
I wonder what the next move is.
Nope. I want to go in
Looking ahead.
Wait.
With haste.
I'm so sneaky. I should probably have my sneaky guy actually get some get a sneak attack in here.
This way.
Enemy surprise, let's go. He pulling on things as I was stuck. God damn it.
Clear off! We got here first.
Well, obviously not, because you're a bitch. Ah, get fucked.
Can't afford to fail.
Anyways, while they're locked in their little turn-based thing, just gonna sneak up on this guy here. And how's it going?
Got to concentrate.
Bit of caution.
And then I'm still silent on this one. Have you ever played Red Dead 2? I have. I do rather enjoy it. I've yet to actually beat it, but I do like it a lot. And then I could totally just fucking smite this bitch out of existence. Yeah. See you later, Stinky.
Shall we cut and run?
Bitch. Uh-oh. It's a barbarian. That's not good. Ouchies. Damn it. He only takes half damage now.
Leave no trace.
Got to keep fighting.
No, she already technically took her action.
Still on my feet.
This game is probably my favorite game. I know, I need to. I'll get around to it eventually. Maybe. Hello, bitch, take your goddamn turn. Ho. Thank you.
Into the shadows.
Got to focus.
Okay, let's he's got too much health left. There we go, that's full. Okay, I just need a little bit more, even though he does take half damage.
I wonder if this is worth the cost.
Well, I can't get the range from here, so I'll just go smash this bitch.
Made a grave mistake.
You ho. Good job, you lit the candle thing behind us. Okay, finish this asshole off. There we go. That's the actual worry out of the way now.
Feel my mistress's wrath.
Playing for Arthur Tahiti. Arthur, I got you some jelly beans. Quarterstaff, not worth it. Definitely take that, take that, take that. I'll send that to Styrian.
How much farther can I go?
You're fine. Quake your wine. No, actually, yeah, I will give you a short rest here.
Keep going a little longer now.
Leather gloves, sure. Don't need the boots. Great club. My Warhammer's better. It's a magical place. That's so I've heard. Are explosive options in this game? They actually kind of are. Like, you can pick up, like, full-on explosive barrels and shit. Not to the sense of, like, handheld bombs, I don't think. Because artificers don't exist in this game. But maybe eventually. Curse of the Vampire. Watch out, guys. Watch out for vampires.
Anything of use?
What is this? Apple Records. Cool. I'm taking them. What was it say? Cool. These are mine now. I'm gonna be selling them.
This text is ancient. Dedication to a forgotten god?
Ooh, just drunk.
Something everywhere.
Hey, I think I found what opens that shit up. I know exactly what that did. It opened the one door that we couldn't get into earlier, guys. Come on. Put two and two together. No potion of explode your dick off. No. Well, kind of. I mean, you definitely could, because you could definitely just blow yourself up. I am playing with the filters on, though, so there's no dick to be blown off. Yippee, guys, we did it. I didn't actually spoil this the first time around. This is kind of fucking creepy. We're gonna equip a torch here. it can only go where. Asterian's gonna. Oh, he's got stuff in his hand.
Whatever comes.
I guess I got dark vision, so it's not the end of the world.
What path lies before me?
They kindled Harley.
This place is
Dank. It's the dank crypt, guys. The dank crypt. This shit dank as hell.
Let's have a look.
I don't want to pick up the jug, I just wanted to look at it. Another chest. Not worth taking.
Here we go.
Is there any other chest I missed? Oh, there was actually. There's one on that side.
Avoid that trap.
Oh my god!
Doesn't like visitors.
I don't have a disarm trap tool thing. Jesus Christ, we almost just fucked. Oh, that's also trapped.
Watch how you go. There's a trap.
Jesus Christ, this place is booby trapped to hell. I don't have disarming tools.
Be careful. There are traps about.
God bless Asterian being able to spot all these fucking traps. Neither one of them is expendable, to be honest. Well, I don't want to open this up because that's obviously trapped. So maybe I'll have to come back when uh-oh. Oh my god. Oh, what does this button do? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. And it crashed the game. What happened? But I pushed a button. It's asking what happened. Oh my god! It did not like me pushing that button. It really, really did not like me pushing that button. That's so fucking funny. That is actually so fucking funny. What about the save? I am gonna try to push it because I feel like it could do something. If it crashes again, then that button's just fucked. I don't know. The save should be fine. I did do a quick save as soon as I went inside, so should be all right. But for the time being, it's just we just get to see darkness. So, yeah. Welp, yeah. How are you guys enjoying the void? Yeah, it's a great void here. Here, I got some. Don't worry, guys. I got something while it's validating everything. Don't worry. Oh, this game does it probably full screen. Can I make this game full screen? There we go. There we go, guys. Cookie clicker. Here we go. We're having fun? Yeah, we're having fun. Anyways, fuck this. We're not actually playing Cookie Clicker. Okay, the true game begins. That would be funny. Just like a silent stream, but I just play Cookie Clicker. Like I don't talk at all, so all you guys hear the entire time is just. Play Tetris on Tetris.com. Well, I think it stopped validating as soon as I opened a quick cookie clicker. So let me it's okay, there we go. Yeah, let me see if I can't see what I can do here. 'Cause I don't know if it can. Tetris.com. All right, let me figure out how to capture this here. There we go. Let me just center this here. Oops. Oh, now it's covering me though. To the bottom you go. Alright, here we go. Gotta play Tetris to the stream's rules. Okay. What are the controls on this version? What is hard drop space? Hold the C. Okay, I'm not gonna remember any of this, but yeah, cool. My Tetris is so long, I'm gonna be so bad at this. So loud. Yeah, let me see if I can't turn it down a little bit because it's so fucking loud. There we go. I'll turn this back on for a little while. Let's turn the actual in-game music off. There we go. Ready for it, guys? Ready for it, ready for it, ready for it. Ready for it, ready for it, ready for it, ready for it, ready for it. Tetris. Anyway, sorry. Don't we all? Don't we all when you get a Tetris? Don't we all? I do too. I also genuinely love Tetris. I could never play competitively though. I've seen them bitches play it competitively and it's stupid. fucked that up. Well. Ah, fuck. Alright, anyways, well, it's fine. It's, it's done its little validating thing, so. Let me just, that display capture now. Alright, guys, here's hoping for a non-crash this time around here. We're hoping for a non-crash. Best button ever. Oh man, that is actually so funny though. No, fuck off. You know, like, so to be fair, the only reason I had to wait was because I was validating the fucking files. You want more Tetris? Maybe I'll do a Tetris Connect stream at some point. The really pretty one. I think it's on Game Pass PC. So if you actually want that, I could do that for you sometime. Oh no! What happened? What do you mean incompatible version? What happened? I see I'm gonna try, but I think it actually might have fucking killed Harley. Welp. Playing more Tetris might fix the issue. I don't think that's how that works. I think it might have actually just straight up killed... Might have just killed off Harley Phoenix. Well, just saying incompatible versions. I don't know what that means in this situation. She left well. Died. Fully died by pressing a button. Let me see if there's anything that I can do about this, but this save might be actually be legitimately fucked. Incompatible save. Okay, so I already deleted the installed mods. That's just gone now. Alright, I already verified the game Steam files. Let me be able to do it again. Delete early access saves. Find unexpected files. Press the button. I mean, it's not. It means it's not. Yeah, I mean, Skyrim playthrough, baby. I wanted the mod Skyrim though. Name this thing. Okay, well, I think we're gonna be playing something else for the time being. I think I'm gonna uninstall and reinstall the game and hope for the best. So, yeah. That's, a bit awkward, I'm not gonna lie. This will probably not install in any reasonable time here. It's 123 gigabytes big. So, it's decently fast, but it's a massive game, so... Let's see what it says for likely Skyrim. Yeah, it's a big game. Oh, sorry, 125. My bad. Yeah, so it's gonna take about a half an hour. So yeah, Baldur's Gate is not gonna be happening tonight anymore. Let me get my Xbox app a little bit up here. Tetris in Skyrim. It wouldn't surprise me if someone at some point has done that. I'm gonna be honest. First, I guess we'll get Tetris installed since Harley really wants the Tetris stream at some point. Oh, it's not on Game Pass PC anymore. Never mind. Sorry, Harley. That's so sad. I'm not paying $40 for a game though. Playing a drawing game or something. We can open up Skyrim. I don't really have a drawing game. Oh, sorry. I'm rubbing my eye and it's freaking my character out. Game, it's okay. Alright, this game will totally be more stable. We'll literally pay for it. I'm not having you pay $40 for the Xbox version, but I'm sure it's somewhere cheaper. My cropping is all fucked. Give me just a second here. I love when my full screen games don't properly fit to the screen. Oh, Tetris is so bad. Let's look at mods together. This is gonna be the rest of the thing. Let me change the fucking title though, because yeah, that's not true anymore. Let me get over to the creative dashboard here. Okay. And stream. Button. Killed. Baldur's Gate 3. I don't know. Skyrim. Some. I doubt there is if I can fucking spell Skyrim. God, I can't fucking spell right now. There we go. Yeah, I got that updated there. What the fuck is this? When did I install this? I don't remember installing any of these. What is happening? Let's go by okay, fucking Harley. Oops, sorry, spelled it wrong. There's nothing built into it. Sure you don't remember this? I remember this one. I don't remember this one, but I also don't remember this. What is this? What? 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 I know it's downloading it, of course. Yeah, I don't know what that is. Of course, this one, obviously. I'll get that one. Sure, I'll do that one. That one. What the fuck was I downloading? What the fuck was I downloading? Of course. Sure. I don't know. I'm sure younger me had good ideas. Yeah, that's cute. Sure. Like I said, I'm sure other me knew what I was doing. Yeah, I'm sure these will all be fine. Do not mean to keep installing all the. I mean Mint does an insult to both of you. I'm gonna take it as a compliment. Can't stop me. Yeah, this will all probably be fine here. Don't actually want this one. Fuck. Yeah, I don't know what I'm actually installing anymore at this point, so there's not one. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. There is not a Skyrim mod. I mean, there's not a Tetris mod. Anyways, these things are going to take fucking ages to install. I already searched for it. There wasn't one. Make one? What do you mean, make one? That's not how that works. It's not how this works. BRB. I don't even know which one's downloading currently. Tetris, here we come. Just make one. It says it can open the creation. No. I genuinely could not tell you which mod is technically installing right now. Probably. A lot of them are pretty much just like backbone stuff, so I'm sure it'll be fine. Other than I genuinely don't know which mod is currently supposed to be installing, so we demanded funny colors and flashing lights. I actually don't know what's supposed to be installing right now, and I don't think it's ever gonna load. I think I bugged it by trying to install too much shit. I'm gonna be honest. Booba mod, I'd probably get banned. Yeah, cool. We're just not gonna. Oh, I will do that later, but yeah, we're not gonna worry about that. Starburst are the shit for real, are the shit for real. Make the bazoomas a weapon. What are you fucking saying, Harley? You're not making any sense here. I don't know, man. Oh, why did I not put that down the middle there? Shit, I'm so dumb. Build my neck. Build to a Tetris. Tears of joy right now. I'm glad. Other than I'm getting myself in kind of a precarious situation here. We'll take the triple. There is only 19 minutes remaining on Baldur's Gate, just so you know. Oh fuck! God damn it! Making silly goose mistakes here. I should rename this stream though. Give me a sec here. We'll rename it for a second time here. Hold on.
As I lay down for the night and close my eyes, my worries out of sight, they crystallize. A million dreams, a million lies, but still I pick you every time. When traveling,
Simply become the Tetris. Oh god, this is not great.
I could be yours until the day the world ends. For eternity.
I'd be down for that. I do actually legitimately love Tetris, so. I just need to get this area down a little bit here. That's my big issue right now. Take that so I can get that in there. So not good. This is so very not good. I'm so fucked. I'm fucked. I'm so fucked. I don't know. Fuck, I meant to. Now I meant to do. Yeah, I'm fucked. There's no salvaging this. Oh god. Ah, we're going faster now. Fuck. Whatever. Featuring Baldur's Gate button? Yeah, for real. Oh, what? Hop back up to 27 minutes. P. Oh, I'm so stupid. Oh god, this is so stupid. This is so dumb. I'm laughing so hard right now. Yay, more Tetris. What other hit flash game can we play? Oh wait, I got it. Playing Google Maps. What is this? Wait, this is so cool. Let's see what is this? Why is there a little animation? Oh, GeoGuessr would be fun. It's snonk. Alright, let's do GeoGuessr, that'd be fun. Oh, give me a sec. When's Jackbox tonight? I'm thinking this weekend. The weekend seems to work probably best for people who work a lot of like weekday kind of stuff. So, okay. This is apparently me. We're just gonna do. Oh, GeoGuess has gotten like a big update apparently. I don't know shit about anything. So it's not American, that's for sure. Guys, it's Bethesda Game Studios. Guys, the download speeds are only getting longer. UK whale? I don't fucking... I don't know where Wales is at, though. Oh, okay, I see. You were off by not that far. It was in Denmark. So... good work, I guess. Yeah, it really is. I don't know shit about shit. I don't even know my own fucking country. We'll take a guess of works for me. I was really fucking close. It was Slovakia. I probably could have assumed that, but I'll take it. All European shit. I don't know European shit. Oh, this is Spanish, actually. Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking. Spain, that sounds good to me. That works. Hey, nice. Is this the golden? No. Big bridge. Need to figure out if it's
We are the youth, and nobody can tell us what to do. The right to choose who we will be and what we want to prove. We are the youth. We've got the time to risk it.
I think so. It looks like the Golden Gate.
But that won't do. We're all here and it's
very, very close. Hey, it was the US, you fucker. Somewhere, probably Middle Eastern, based off that. No way, Americans walk. Fuck off. I'm gonna ban you. Okay, the Americans don't walk. They can't hurt us. Fuck off, both of you. I can't fucking move now. Birds. Someone figure out the birds.
We are the youth. We've got the time to risk it all and lose. But that won't do. 'Cause we're all here.
Literally a Turkish flag. I don't. Okay, cool. Who the fuck is Turkey? I don't know shit about fucking geography. Fuck geography.
The future is here, no slowing down. Will you believe in us?
I don't know fucking flags. I only get 5 minutes of fucking free. This is stupid. What is this shit?
The future is here, no slowing down. Will you believe in us? 'Cause we want the world, we want it now.
Okay. I didn't mean for it to be 600 seconds. I didn't mean it's okay. Hold up. He was being mean. Stop being mean. This is so dumb. Why? The daily challenge will go well, I'm sure. They're all there on my screen, to be fair. Okay, still can't. Yeah, it's dumb. What else? What other fun web games are there? We still have a very fluctuating high amount of minutes left for Baldur's. Pictionary? That doesn't really work. Fuck you, Harley. If I hide this, I don't... There we go. Open technology. That way I have something that's not as... Play Hangman? No. I don't know what these are, I'm gonna be honest. Oh, I know I can go. The only website that matters. Definitely not. How are these the popular games? BuzzFeed's Are You Gay quiz. That would be funny. It's supposed to be loading an ad, to be fair. I don't care. Both of you shut the fuck up. You might be straight. Oh my god! It's so loud. It's so loud. Oh my fucking god. God. I want the runner. This one... The fucking walker is so boring. Fear your soul? That's not possible. ASMR stream? God, no. I didn't mean to do that. I miss this website. This was my shit back in the day, was all these games. Hell yeah. You even click. I have a mecha membrane. No, I'm not playing chess. I'm awful at chess. It's only a semi-clicky keyboard. Thank you very much. I'm not playing chess. I'm so bad at chess. Miss Cookie Clicker? I'm not playing Cookie Clicker right now. Play the Raft one. I don't think Raft Wars is on Cool Math Games. I could go to another website, obviously, though. Why does Cool Math have like an XP system now? Why do game websites need an XP system? Do we watch royalty-free movies? No. Oh my fucking god! Alright, I'm just muting the entire tab. Holy shit. I know how to play Block Source. Okay, maybe I don't. Oh man, it's been so long. Who killed Captain Alex? I don't want to talk about it. Oh, this song fucks. Yeah, shut up. Shut up. Fuck. Nah, whatever. I'm fucking garbage at Blockers. Always have been, always will be. Shut up. Kick your ass. Soul, I swear to fucking Christ, I will fucking kill you. You're 6'5", and I'm 6'2". I don't know what your point is. You should. Let me see if I've installed my Steam library. Oh no, because this is going to slow shit down. There's a reason we were playing browser games, that's right. I don't remember all the garbage I used to play when I was a kid. What fucking garbage did I play as a kid? I don't remember. So we're gonna hop off soon? Yeah, that's fine. I likely probably should just honestly end this stream, let Baldur's Gate do its thing. It's not going to be done for a couple more minutes, but maybe I'll just leave everything closed as much as possible, and then I just want to see if Harley Phoenix is permanently dead. I'll give you guys fish to look at while we wait. I don't know if this is for use. Go follow that person. I don't know. Is that how that works? Hey, stop trying to fucking... There you go. This is boring. I lied. Look at this single picture here. Still got 5 minutes, 30-ish seconds. Just put the cat ears on? I mean, I have cat ears on, literally, right now. Or just put cats on? Or Tetris at the funeral? Tetris. Nope, don't. Where did you get cat ears from? I have one on my my headset, as well as I bought some ones on Amazon. Not Tetris again. She's a cat, dumbass. Yeah, meow, bitch. I want a sweet, sweet Tetris. A good spot for that. Tetris. Now I gotta fix my little tomfoolery there. Ah, shit, fuck. Shit, double tap me. Do the roar. Roar. Bitch. Fuck. God damn it, I keep fucking it up. My hands are too fucking twitchy for all this shit. Fuck, keep pressing the wrong fucking button. Reaction streams? Fuck no. I will not become a reaction streamer. Also, I really don't know how fair use and everything works with all that, so I don't really want to get in trouble with all that. But why level up? Harley, what the fuck are you on about over there? What is happening? Harley thing? Alright, fair enough. You know, the usual. Yeah, fair enough. Nope, don't do that. Triple. Who are they gonna tell? Not wrong. Well, it's not. I swapped out for the same fucking thing. Reaction stream. Shut up. No. No reaction streams. Apparently only has a minute left anyways, so we can react to seeing if Harley Phoenix is still fucking alive. Or if that single fucking button crashed that character for forever. Back to different shades of paint. I'm not Charlie fucking Simesicle. President Eisenhower. Hey, Baldur's Gate's done. PP2. Okay. Alright, let's find out. Did not mean to fully close that. Play Red Dead. I don't have Red Dead on my PC. Back to the JFK trick shot. Okay. Alright, let's moment of truth here. And my fucking browser's all fucked. My fucking capture's all fucked up now. Cause why the fuck would it not be? This time it's too big rather than being too small. Cause why wouldn't it be? What do we think? Do you think Harley Phoenix is permanently dead? Because I have a good feeling she is. I will look into seeing if I can get this fixed. Because there seems to be a bunch of fixes online. Yeah. We can hope. Otherwise, she'd be too powerful, apparently. Okay, let me try one thing here. Make Harley 2 Electric Boogaloo. So I'll get into bed and cuddle. I'm down with that. The only hope should be too powerful. Let me try one more thing. So apparently launching it in like I think a more stable version rather than like the nicer quality version seems to work. So I just want to see. I think they might have rolled back a hotfix the moment I started playing it. Launch in the lowest settings. That's not how that works. It's nothing to do with the graphics. It's 100% to do with everything else. It won't work now. She's dead. Let her go. I'm trying one more thing, but yeah, I got you, Remy. Roomscape quality, Baldur's Gate. I don't think it'd get that bad. It would just be super goofy looking. Necromancy. I don't know if you can become a necromancer. I'm gonna be honest. I think you might be too, because there definitely is like a tome of necromancy in the game. So, are people saying this also fixes? But we'll find out. And if it doesn't, well, then I might just wait for hotfix for Harley to let fix. Well, we will just simply have to wait for a hotfix. Because, as of right now... Oh, this is from 4 hours ago. So, yeah. We just gotta wait for the next patch to come back out, because I think it played on a patch that was a newer one. Yeah. So we played on a patch that was reversed. So she's not dead. She's just temporarily dead. So, yeah, right? So, yeah. We just simply have to wait for the hotfix. But that's not gonna happen. Yeah, it really just fucking killed her. But for now, we'll call it there. What did I say? Wednesday? Tomorrow's Thursday. I don't know if I'm doing anything tomorrow. I might do something tomorrow. Maybe some Jackbox, maybe something else. We'll figure it out. Either way, we're gonna end the stream for tonight. Thank you guys for all. How do you name this button? Okay. You guys have a wonderful night. Thank you all for coming out.